The red sky of New Geneva looked like it was on fire as Captain Kim Soha stared out at the enemy ships coming down through the clouds. She gripped her chair so hard her hands hurt as she counted them. 47 big alien warships against her. A small group of only 12 human ships. It was not going to be easy. "Captain, the enemy wants to talk to us," said Lieutenant Park Min-ho from his seat at the communications panel. His voice was steady, but Soha could hear he was scared. "Let me hear what they have to say," Soha replied. The big screen in front of them lit up and showed the face of the alien commander. It looked like a giant insect with huge eyes and sharp teeth that moved when it talked. The thing made clicking sounds that Soha knew meant it was laughing at them. "Dirty humans," the alien said through the computer that changed its words to human language. "Your little colony will burn, just like all the others we have destroyed. Where's your Earth now? Your home planet has been quiet for 300 years. It must be dead and gone." Captain Soha stood up slowly. On her uniform was the symbol of the United Human Settlements. The group that protected all the human colonies after Earth went silent. "I am Captain Kim Soha of the ship called Defiance. You have 30 seconds to leave this place or we will fight you." The alien commander's teeth clicked even faster. "Fight us? With what? Your people are weak and forgotten, even the big hegemony. Council does not care if you live or die." The screen went black. Soha turned to look at Li Juan, her weapons officer. Juan's face was white with fear, but her eyes showed she was ready to fight. "All ships, get ready for battle," Soha said into her communicator. "Today we fight alone, but we fight as one family." The alien ships started shooting bright beams of deadly energy at the human ships. The beams looked like lightning as they crossed the empty space between the two fleets. Soha watched the first shots miss her ship by just a few meters. "Return fire," she ordered. "Make every shot count." The human ships were much smaller than the alien ones, but they were faster, and their crews knew how to fight smart. Captain Soha had been fighting aliens for 10 years, ever since she was a young officer. She had learned that humans might not have the biggest ships or the most powerful weapons, but they never gave up. "Direct hit on enemy ship number 3, called out Ji-Wan from her station. "But their shields are still holding." Soha nodded. She had expected this. The alien ships were tough and hard to destroy. This was going to be a long battle, and she was not sure her small fleet could win, as more enemy fire hit the space around. Then, Soha thought about all the people living on New Geneva below. There were 2 million humans on this world, including many children. They were all counting on her and her ships to protect them. "Captain, we are getting hit hard," reported Lieutenant Park. "The ship Courage is badly damaged, and the ship Hope has lost its weapons." Soha closed her eyes for just a second. In that moment, she thought about Earth, the home planet that all humans came from, but that had been silent for 300 years. No one knew if Earth was still there, or if something terrible had happened to it. "Earth, wherever you are," she whispered quietly so only she could hear, "we could use your help right now." She opened her eyes and looked at her crew. They were all young people who had been born on colony worlds, far from Earth. But they were still human, still brave, still willing to fight for their families and friends. "All ships form up around the Defiance," she commanded. "We are going to charge right at them. If we are going to lose, we will make them pay for every shot." The 12 human ships moved closer together and began flying straight at the much larger alien fleet. It looked like a group of small fish swimming toward a pack of sharks. But Soha knew that sometimes the small and fast could beat the big and slow. The alien commander must have thought the humans were crazy. His ship started shooting even more energy beams, trying to destroy the human ships before they could get close. "Hold the line!" Soha called out to her fleet. "Do not let them break us apart." The battle was just beginning, but Captain Kim Soha felt something she had not felt in a long time. Hope. Maybe it was just wishful thinking. But she had a feeling that somehow, someway, help was coming. She did not know how she knew this, but deep in her heart, she believed that the children of Earth were not forgotten. The fight for New Geneva continued. and neither side knew that this battle would change everything in the galaxy forever. Dr. Choi Yemen stood in front of a huge glowing screen that showed him everything happening around Earth. The screen was so big it covered the entire wall of the command center. He was watching the final work being done on the most important project humans had ever built, all around Earth. Giant shipyards floated in space. These shipyards were so big they stretched for thousands of miles. Inside them, workers were building spaceships that were bigger and more powerful than anything humans had ever made before. These ships looked like they came from a dream, not from real life. "How is the quantum pulse array working?" Yemen asked Dr. Yunhana, who was his best engineer and closest friend. "Everything looks perfect," Hannah replied, checking her computer screens. "The quantum field is strong and steady. Think we can finally break through the barrier that has kept us cut off from the rest of the galaxy for 300 years. Yemen nodded slowly. His face was old and lined with wrinkles from years of hard work. He had spent most of his life getting ready for this day. 300 years ago, something called the Great Silence had happened. All the machines that let Earth talk to its colony worlds had stopped working. No one knew why. One day, Earth could talk to all its children living on other planets. And the next day, there was only silence. When this happened, many people thought Earth would give up and die. But humans did what they always do when things get bad. They found a way to keep going. They learned new things. They built new machines. They became stronger. The changes on Earth have been amazing to see. The planet now had 12 billion people living on it, but they lived in peace with nature. The air was clean, the water was pure, and animals lived freely. Giant cities floated high above the clouds like something from a fairy tale. Down on the ground, forests and grasslands covered the earth like a green carpet. But the most important change was not what people could see. It was the new technology that humans had invented during their long isolation. They had learned to build machines that could think, ships that could fix themselves, and weapons that could bend the very fabric of space. "Are our warships ready?" Yemen asked. "All 12 of our big ships are ready to go," Hannah answered. Terra Invicta is waiting for orders. Admiral Kang Yunbi is on board and ready to command the fleet. Yemen looked out through the big window of the command center. There in space, he could see the Terra Invicta, the flagship of Earth's new fleet. The ship was so big, it looked like a floating city. Its hull seemed to shimmer and bend light around it like it was made of liquid metal. This was because of special technology that let the ship repair itself and make itself stronger during battle. The other 11 ships of the Earth Defense Fleet were just as impressive. Each one was powerful enough to fight an entire enemy fleet by itself. They had weapons that could destroy planets and shields that could stop almost any attack. 300 years, Yemen said quietly to himself. For 300 years, our children on other worlds have been fighting alone, not knowing if Earth was still alive. During the Great Silence, Earth had no way of knowing what was happening to the human colonies on other planets. Were they safe? Were they under attack? Were they even still alive? These questions had haunted every person on Earth for centuries. But now, finally, Earth was ready to speak again. "Sir, the quantum pulse array is ready to send the message," Hannah reported. Jae-min took a deep breath and stood up straight. This was the moment he had worked toward his entire life. Send the pulse. Let the galaxy know that Earth has not forgotten its children. The quantum pulse array was a machine so powerful it could send a message across the entire galaxy in just a few seconds. The message was simple but important. Earth was alive. Earth was strong, and Earth remembered all the humans living on distant worlds as the pulse shot out into space. Carrying Earth's message to the stars, Yemen felt tears running down his face. He was not sad. He was happy and proud and relieved all at the same time. For 300 years, Earth had been preparing for this moment. While the rest of the galaxy thought humans were weak and primitive, Earth had been building the most advanced fleet in the galaxy. While other species fought wars and made enemies, humans had learned to live in peace with each other and with nature. "The pulse is away," Hannah announced. It will reach the nearest human colonies in about 6 hours. Yemen smiled. Soon, very soon, the children of Earth would know they were not alone. Soon the galaxy would learn that Earth had not been sleeping during the long silence. Earth had been growing stronger, smarter, and more powerful than anyone could imagine. The great silence was finally over, and the galaxy was about to discover that humans were not the weak, forgotten species they thought they were. The quantum pulse from Earth traveled across the galaxy like a wave in a pond. It reached thousands of planets and space stations where aliens lived and worked. On most of these worlds, the aliens who detected the pulse did not think it was important. They thought it was just some old machine making noise. In the big meeting hall of the Hegemony Council, where all the important alien species made decisions about the galaxy, the representatives looked at reports about the pulse and shrugged. Just some broken technology, they said. Nothing to worry about. They'd forgotten the humans even existed, but in the dark warships of the HFY Empire, things were different. War Marshal Vexter was a cruel alien who looked like a giant insect with sharp claws and many eyes. He had been fighting human colonies for many years, destroying their worlds and killing their people. If Earth is still alive, Vexter hissed to his officers, his voice full of hate, we must destroy it before it can help the human colonies. Get the second armada ready. 200 of our best warships will finish what we started long ago. The HFY had always believed that Earth was dead. 300 years there had been no word from the human home world. New Earth was still there. They wanted to destroy it before it became a problem. The huge HFY fleet appeared at the edge of Earth's solar system like ghosts materializing from nothing. Their computers immediately started scanning for human ships and weapons. What they found made them very confused. Earth was beautiful, hanging in space like a blue and green jewel. Around it were giant space stations and shipyards that were bigger than entire cities. The planet looked rich and peaceful, not like a world that had been cut off from the galaxy for centuries. But what really surprised the HFY was the fleet, waiting for them. 12 ships floated near Earth, but these ships were unlike anything the aliens had ever seen. They were huge and seemed to shimmer like water. Light bent around them in strange ways, and they looked more like living things. Then Machine's Admiral Kang Yunbi stood on the bridge of the Terra Invicta, the flagship of Earth's defense fleet. She was a calm, quiet woman, but her eyes burned with anger. The HFY had been hurting human colonies for decades, killing innocent people and destroying homes. Now, they had come to attack Earth itself. The enemy wants to talk to us, said Communications Officer Wang Daiki. Let me hear what they have to say, Yunbi replied. The big screen showed War Marshal Vexter's ugly face. His many eyes glowed with evil joy, and his sharp teeth clicked together as he spoke. Humans of Earth, he said in a voice full of hate. Your colonies have been causing us trouble for too long. Give up now, and we will kill you quickly instead. Of making you suffer? Admiral Yunbi's face did not change. She looked at the alien commander like he was something unpleasant she had found on her shoe. I am Admiral Kang Yunbi of the Earth Defense Fleet. You have come into our system without permission and threatened our people. You have one chance to leave. Think about it carefully. Vexter's teeth clicked faster, which meant he was laughing. Leave. You have 12 ships. We have 200. You cannot count very well, human. Counting is perfect, Yunbi said in a quiet voice. Then she said just one word. Fire. 12 Earth ships fired their weapons at exactly the same time. Beams of pure energy shot across space, but these were not normal weapons. They had been built with technology that was centuries ahead of anything else in the galaxy. The energy beams seemed to ignore the laws of physics, bending and twisting through space like living things. The HFY ships had strong shields that could stop most weapons. But Earth's energy beams went through these shields like they were made of paper. The alien ships began to explode one by one, torn apart by weapons they did not understand. War Marshal Vexter watched in horror as his mighty fleet was destroyed. Impossible, he screamed. No one has weapons this powerful. Admiral Yunbi was not finished. The Earth ships kept firing, their weapons never missing their targets. Each shot destroyed another HFY warship. The aliens could do nothing to stop it. The battle lasted exactly 17 minutes. When the shooting stopped, the Kethfer Second Armada was gone. 200 warships had been turned into floating scrap metal. The Terra Invicta and the other Earth ships had not even been scratched. A few Kethfer escape pods were floating in space, holding the survivors of the battle. Admiral Yunbi opened a communication channel to them. "Tell your empire that Earth has returned," she said. "Then that we remember every human world you have attacked, every colony you have burned. Well, then that the children of Earth are under our protection now." As the escape pods flew away to bring the terrible news to the Kethfer Empire, Admiral Yunbi looked out at the stars. The galaxy was about to learn that humanity's 300 years of silence had not been wasted. Earth was back, and it was stronger than anyone had ever imagined. The news about the destruction of the Kethfer fleet traveled fast across the galaxy. On every planet and space station, people were talking about the same thing. Earth had destroyed 200 enemy warships in just 17 minutes. No one could believe it was true. In the great meeting hall of the Hegemony Council, the alien leaders who ruled the galaxy were having an emergency meeting. For many years, they had ignored human requests for help when human colonies were attacked. The council had said humans were too weak and unimportant to matter. But now, something impossible had happened. A human man named Ambassador Seo Minjun was standing in the middle of their meeting hall. No one knew how he had gotten there. The building was supposed to be protected by the best security in the galaxy, but somehow he had walked right in. "Honored council members," Minjun said in a calm, quiet voice. But everyone in the room could hear the power behind his words. Earth wants to talk about changing humanity's position in the hegemony. The Trilaxian Council speaker was a tall, thin alien with blue skin who had always thought humans were stupid and primitive. He looked very uncomfortable as he stared at the human ambassador. "Ambassador Seo," the speaker said, trying to sound important. "The stories about your ships and weapons must be lies. No one could destroy so many Kethfer ships so easily."
"Ambassador,"
Minjun smiled, but it was not a friendly smile. "Would you like us to show you what our ships can do?" The threat was clear, and all the aliens in the room suddenly realized they were in trouble. If the stories about Earth's fleet were true, then humans were now the most dangerous species in the galaxy. Far away, on the planet New Geneva, Captain Kim So-ha was fighting for her life. Her small fleet had been battling the Kethfer for hours, and things were going badly. She had started with 12 ships, but now only 8 were still fighting. Her crews were tired, and they were almost out of weapons. The Kethfer had brought more ships to finish the battle. 47 fresh enemy warships were attacking her small, damaged fleet. So-ha knew they could not win this fight. Captain Lieutenant Park Min-ho called out from his station. His voice was full of fear and exhaustion. "I'm seeing new ships on our sensors. 3 contacts coming in fast. But they're not Kethfer ships." On the main screen, 3 huge ships appeared out of nowhere. They looked like nothing So-ha had ever seen before. The ships were smooth and beautiful, and they seemed to glow with their own inner light. Energy crackled around them like lightning. The lead ship sent a message to So-ha's fleet. "This is Admiral Bae Jisoo of the Earth's Second Fleet. I am commanding the ship Prometheus Rising. All Kethfer ships must leave this area immediately." Captain So-ha stared at the screen with her mouth open. "Earth," she whispered. "But how is that possible?" "Captain Kim," Admiral Bae's voice came through the speakers. It was the voice of a woman who sounded kind but very strong. "You and your people have fought with great courage. Now let your family take care of the rest." So-ha felt tears in her eyes. The 300 years the human colonies had believed they were alone. They thought Earth was dead or had forgotten about them. But now, Earth had come to save them. The Kethfer commander looked at the 3 Earth ships and laughed. He thought 3 ships could not defeat his fleet of 47 warships. He ordered his ships to attack the newcomers. It was the last mistake he would ever make. The 3 Earth ships moved through space like dancers, smooth and graceful and deadly. Their weapons fired at the same time, but these weapons were like nothing anyone had ever seen. Beams of energy reached out and touched every single Kethfer ship at once. The alien ships began exploding immediately. Their shields, which were supposed to protect them, did nothing against Earth's advanced weapons. One by one, the HFY warships were torn apart by forces they could not understand. The battle was over in less than 10 minutes. The few HFY ships that survived turned and ran away as fast as they could, terrified by what they had seen. The Prometheus Rising came close to Soa's damaged ship, Defiance, and connected to it with a docking tube. Soon, Captain Soha found herself face to face with Admiral Bei Jisoo. Admiral Bei was a woman with kind eyes and gray hair. She looked at Soha with the expression of her grandmother seeing her grandchild for the first time in years. "We never forgot about you," Admiral Bei said simply. "Not you, not any of the human colonies. Earth has been getting ready for this day for 300 years. Captain Kim Soha had been strong throughout the terrible battle. She had been brave when facing impossible odds. But now, finally safe, she began to cry. They were not tears of sadness, but tears of joy and relief. The children of Earth were no longer alone in the dark. Their family had come home. 6 months had passed since the great battle at Earth, and the galaxy looked completely different now. Everything had changed in ways that no one could have imagined. The HFY Empire, which had been one of the most feared forces in the galaxy, was now weak and broken. Earth's powerful fleet had destroyed 80% of their warships in battles across many star systems. The proud alien warriors who had terrorized human colonies for decades were now begging for peace. The Hegemony Council, the group of alien species that ruled the galaxy, had been forced to change everything about how they worked. For centuries, they had treated humans like unimportant pests. Now humanity not only had a seat at the big meeting table, but they could stop any decision they did not like. Earth had become the most powerful voice in galactic politics. Admiral Kong Yunbi stood on the observation deck of her new flagship, the Stellar Dawn. Through the huge windows, she could see the most amazing sight in human history. At 500, spaceships were lined up in perfect formation, stretching across space as far as the eye could see. This was the Great Expedition, a joint fleet made up of ships from Earth and all the human colonies. Standing next to her was Admiral Kim Soha, the brave captain who had fought so hard to defend New Geneva 6 months ago. Now, she commanded her own big ship called the New Horizon. Soha looked out at the massive fleet and shook her head in wonder. "It's hard to believe only 6 months have passed," Soha said. "Everything is so different now. Time moves fast. When?" "You're changing history," Yunbi replied with a smile. The galaxy spent 300 years thinking Earth was dead. They forgot that humans are very hard to kill. The two admirals watched as the final preparations were made for the Great Expedition. This fleet was not going to fight wars or conquer planets. Instead, they were going to explore the unknown regions beyond the edge of the galaxy, places where no one had ever gone before. Communications Officer Wang Deki walked up to them carrying a computer pad with information about the fleet. "Admiral, here's the final list of all our ships. We have representatives from every human world, both from Earth and from all the colonies." Admiral Yunbi nodded as she looked at the list. Ships from Earth were flying alongside ships from New Geneva, New Tokyo, New London, and dozens of other human worlds. For the first time in 300 years, all of humanity was working together on the same mission. "What about our alien friends?" Yunbi asked. 12 different alien species have asked to join the expedition, Daki reported. "They say they want to learn what lies beyond the rim of the galaxy." Yunbi smiled. These were not the same aliens who had ignored human suffering for so long. These were species that had seen Earth's power and wanted to be friends instead of enemies. They wanted to learn from humans and explore the unknown together. "Let them come with us," Yunbi said. "It's time for the galaxy to learn that humanity's greatest strength is not our weapons. Our greatest strength is our ability to work together." The Great Expedition was more than just a fleet of spaceships. It was a symbol of how much everything had changed. Earth and its colonies were united again. Humans and aliens who had once been enemies were now working as partners. The galaxy had learned to respect humanity, not because humans were cruel or threatening, but because they were strong and willing to help others. As the massive fleet began to move, leaving Earth's solar system behind, something wonderful was happening on planets across the galaxy. In schools where alien children learned about history, teachers were telling a new story. Never think that humans are weak or unimportant, the teachers said. When they were cut off from the galaxy, they did not give up or die. Instead, they used their isolation to become stronger and smarter. When they were abandoned by their friends, they learned to depend on themselves. The galaxy forgot about Earth, but Earth never forgot about its children living among the stars. Young alien students listened with wide eyes as they learned about the human colonies that had fought alone for centuries and about Earth's amazing return. They learned that humans had a special quality that made them different from other species. When things got bad, humans did not break. They bent, they adapted, they grew stronger. The age of human expansion was beginning. For 300 years, humans had been a small, ignored part of galactic civilization. Now they were leading the way into unknown regions of space, with both human and alien ships following them into the great darkness beyond the stars. Admiral Yunbi watched the stars grow brighter as the great expedition picked up speed. Behind them, the galaxy was learning new lessons about cooperation and friendship. Ahead of them lay mysteries and wonders that no one had ever seen. The children of Earth were no longer alone in the dark. They were leading the way toward a brighter future for everyone in the galaxy, and the universe would never be the same again.